Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Sangeeta Paramasivan from SK Section 17 Shah Alam, and I will be the moderator for today. Being the second episode of the Runlink series, today we will look at how to do IoT camera streaming using the Runlink code of programming. This webinar is brought to you by Malaysian STEM Teachers Association, MASTA, in collaboration with the Stemsel Foundation from Adelaide, Australia. It's going to be a hands-on session as we are going to be guided step by step on how to do IoT camera streaming. Now, we love to hear from you, and so you may drop your comments or questions in the chat box. At the end of the webinar, please also do join us for a question and answer session to get your questions answered. Now, moving right along, it is now my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Prof. Miroslav Kostecki, who is well known as Prof. Miro, the inventor of Runlink Code of Programming, also the Chief Technical Officer of Stemsel Foundation and Pro-Vice Chancellor of Central University Institute of Bamenda in Cameroon. Without any further delay, let me welcome Prof. Miro. Welcome, Prof. Miro. We are glad you could be here today to teach us how to do IoT camera streaming using the Runlink code of programming. It's an honor to learn it from the master himself. With that, presenting the floor to you, Prof.
Thank you, Sangeeta. Thank you very much. So I understand that possibly Peng Chu might be here as well, just to do a short introduction. And then what I'll do is I will actually step through. So this will be a hands-on session. Many of you may have already seen the projects because I listed the projects before. So this is actually project A1, the A1 camera streaming. So I will go through the document and I will actually show you and then display and share on the screen. And this is the first introduction also to the Runlink page. So if you actually have the Runlink, you can get it open and you can follow, or you might be able to actually do it straight after this session, because then you will remember how to do that as well. So I don't know if Peng is in the waiting room at the moment. Is he? Maybe he can say a few words.
Not sure.
Okay. He's in.
Yeah,
Yes,
hello,
Peng. Thank
Suhali.
you.
Hi, Dr. Pang.
Yeah, I can see you guys. So Miro, you can't see me?
Yes, I can see you. Thanks. Yeah.
So I'm with you in the backstage. I don't think so.
You're no longer in the backstage. We can all see you and hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. So good evening to all the PGSM teachers attending this workshop tonight. And it was a very memorable start last week. Lots of discussion and lots of follow-up. And so I hope that tonight's live camera streaming will give you some perspective as to effectively with one line of code, you will be able to connect your camera to the laptop. For example, so many applications, right? And one of them is an intruder alarm that you can see who is coming to your house or to your office. And then hopefully at some stage next week, maybe with 2 lines of code, you can make the web page with 2 buttons in order to activate the artificial intelligence voice message, which takes only another 3 lines of code in order to scare off the intruder. Like, for instance, your message could be, police on the way. Your photo has been sent to the police. Go away or you go to jail. Yeah, these sort of things, young primary school, upper primary school students like 10, 11, 12 years old we'll be able to do that very quickly. If you add the lines together, it's only 6 lines of code there to make an intruder alarm. So I hope that these modular sort of workshops, you can add them together. So like Miro say, he sent out the 7 projects, which you only require your mobile phone and your laptop to be able to give yourself the practice. And why not even the students? Forward it to the students. And as we have experienced, many of the students are really fast. When they get the 7 projects, they can finish it in perhaps half a day. 7 projects, and only need your mobile phone and your laptop. And so we can, if time allow, I suppose we can do a bit of networking later. But just to briefly make this short announcement that there is a Professor Leong, who is an artificial intelligence professor in Malaysia. And she's very, very keen to support the formation of the ASEAN STEM Federation, ASF, right? And I think your organization, PGSM, would then hopefully be able to connect to all the PGSM similar in the other 9 countries, the ASEAN countries. So then teachers can have a lot of cross connection to Brunei, to Thailand, to Philippines, to Papua New Guinea, who actually have already flown the drone, controlled the drone from PNG to Australia, with the Americans watching.
Great.
Really surprised. And finally, Miro may send through the pictures that we received today from USA about them using Runlink to control the drone, which they have never seen before. So finally, enjoy tonight, and you are the first. You hold the secrets. So make full use of it. Give us ideas, because seriously, the Americans just hear about it, and you have already heard about this for quite a number of weeks now. And you could be the trigger to form the ASEAN STEM Federation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pang.
Thank you,
Pang.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So what I will do is I'll actually step through the document, and the question has already come up. What if you've got an iPhone? Well, there's actually 2 sections to the document. It's not just for Android, it's also for iPhone as well. So I'll be going through both of the sections. The difference is only the app which actually accesses the camera on your phone, but the Runlink, excuse me, the Runlink section is the same. Okay, sorry. Okay, so let's take a look at the document. Thank you. If you can expand that out a little bit as well, we can have a closer look. Okay, I will be sharing my screen. You can see that it says there after the sections, getting to know Runlink, the preparation for Android, and then the preparation for iPhone, and then we're going to run through the project with Android or iPhone was actually the same. We put it into different sections here in this document just to avoid any confusion, because then you don't need to jump around. You can just go to the Android section or the iPhone section. But actually, the Runlink works the same. Okay, so this is the first time then that you'll be opening the online Runlink. So this is a link here directly to the online Runlink, which I'll be opening as soon as I get onto that section. Okay, so if we just go to the introduction, you can see that this project teaches you how to include vision for live streaming of video and or other IP cameras. So this example uses your phone and it actually turns it into an IP camera. But actually, you can buy separate IP cameras as well. So, for example, you could actually make an app where you buy an IP camera and put it on the front of your home, and then you can see it either with Runlink on your phone, on a tablet, or on your laptop as well. Okay, so you can actually create that yourself. All right, so the idea of streaming, okay, the idea of streaming is transmitting and receiving data, but it's continuous, which means that it doesn't actually have to store anything. So we use it for multimedia, of course, such as the what we're using at the moment across the internet. But also we can use it for streaming also to our own web page as well. It requires a large amount of data to do video. And if we need to store it, then we need a large storage space as well. But if it's streaming, then it doesn't need large storage. One of the things about streaming is that either you need a good connection so you have lots of bandwidth, or if you're actually streaming across the internet, then you can also compress the video. So you need some sort of compression type, and then you decompress it on the other side as well. So today we'll be just looking at straight streaming from the camera, okay, without the compression. Some of you may have seen the drone that I use, so that actually has compression of the video, and you can see the frames on that as well, so it can be used also. And when I did the drone, that was also just one line of code to include the camera on the drone as well, the camera streaming. Okay, if we just go down to the next section. Okay, so the plan is that we can set up a security camera to, for example, to protect your property. So Runlink is a web page inside the Wi-Fi chip, but today we're not going to use the Wi-Fi chip because we also do have the online version. If it's on the Wi-Fi chip, then also your web page can not only have the camera, but it can also have other things on there as well. So, for example, it can actually activate an alarm, a light, and many other things, and also do other sensing. So you might have a security sensor as well that can be activated then if it's connected to the chip. Okay, so let's go to the step. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of getting to know Runlink. And also, as we do that, we're going to also create a bit of a heading on the Runlink. So I'm going to open my Runlink web page here, and I will actually go through those sections. Okay, so if I can be allowed to share my Runlink, then I would like to show that, and then I can also start putting in some of the code that you'll be doing today as well. The first thing, we're going to have a heading, and then we're going to have the camera section. Okay, so let me see if I can share my screen. I should be able to just do a Chrome tab. I think it says Chrome tab, so let's do that. Okay, can everyone see that clearly? Okay, is that coming through okay? I can't see or hear anything. Not sure if it's getting through.
Yes,
Yeah,
Myro,
we can
see
see,
the-
Prof. Yeah,
program.
we can see.
Excellent. Okay.
Right.
So what I've done is I've gone to that link directly. This is the page that comes up. So the sections that we have on this page, we have this section here with the port configuration, name, status. That is actually on the controller or the Wi-Fi chip, so we can connect those parts onto a web page that we are making. We also have CSS, that is the look of our web page, the graphics. We have the HTML, which is actually the parts which go on the display of our web page. And we have the JavaScript, which is the code behind the web page as well. So we won't be doing any JavaScript today because we can do everything inside the HTML, including the camera as well. The JavaScript loop is the JavaScript, but what it is it repeats the JavaScript when we need the JavaScript to go, when it finishes, to keep repeating as well. The JavaScript box executes once at the beginning of the code that we need. What's also very important on this page is at the top, we have the save file, okay? So we can save the project to our device. This is actually very important because you can imagine that sometimes you want to get it back later, but what's even more important is that you may not finish what you're doing, your project, or you may wish to extend your project, which means you can then use the load file as well. When you do use the save, because Runlinc works on a web page, if it's on a Wi-Fi chip or online, when you press save, it will be a download, okay, a download, and it will be a .json file. So when you do a load, then you need to press the load and you go to your downloads and you can then select the file. Many people I've seen actually simply press save. What that will do is simply create a file which is called save JSON file. Okay, next time you use it, it'll be maybe save 1, save 2. That is not a good idea. And as you know, if you are using coding for any students or yourself, you should always put in a name. So we should put in the name of this file. So if we were going to save it, then we might want to put a good name such as phone camera, okay, or phone camera streaming, for example. Okay, we can actually put spaces into the name, okay, in this case, and upper and lowercase. Okay, so that would actually be better. All right. So for those of you that have the document, then you can also open the page as well. What we'll do is we will create a heading. Okay, so on the heading, we're going to actually use H2, which is H is a heading and 2 is the size of the heading. So 1 is the largest size and then 2 is slightly smaller size. And then we will create a heading and simply put camera streaming view. Okay, and then we can actually finish that heading /H2. So this is the way the HTML works. We have the triangle brackets, and then we can simply put in the text, whatever you wish to put on there. And obviously yourself and the students can be very creative. And this is the end of the heading. So in this case, if we actually run code, so if I press the run code, okay, and it is a good idea to check. Then when we go down here, we can see camera streaming view. Okay, camera streaming view. So this part of the page will actually display our web page which we are forming. Later, not today, but next week, I will also show you how this web page can also be separate as well. If you have a Wi-Fi chip, you can actually send the page and you can open it separately. But also with our other online version, the version 1.2, you can also put it onto our server and open it separately as a link that you can share. So that is even better. Okay, so we have the camera streaming view, which is on the side, but what if we want to put the camera streaming view in the middle? So if we take a look again at our document, the document actually shows that we can use, in the code, we can do a text alignment. So we can actually change where the text is, and we can align it into the center. Okay, so where we would put that is we would put it inside the H2. So the H2 says it's a heading, and then we also can do the alignment. Okay, so we will type in style equals, and then in the quotations, text align, colon, center, and that will do the heading with the text actually in the center, and then we have our text. So then if we want to include the new code, we can press stop code, press the run code, and you can see that the camera streaming view is in the center. So our text can be centered. We can actually add more lines, and then we can have different sizes of text on there as well. But today, what we want to do is add one more line, which is actually the camera view underneath the heading. Okay, so what I will do is I'll stop the sharing, and we'll go back to the document as to how we do that on the two devices. You will need to set up your phone. Okay, so if we can go back to the document, then we can show you first on the Android, and then on the iPhone, and then how we insert it into the Runlink and what that will look like. Okay, if we go down to the section then for the preparation part B1, preparation Android. Okay, it actually says that we need to download an app. So in both cases, we download a special app so that the camera on your phone actually can be shared as an IP camera. So what that means is that that camera then will become available on the network. So even before we download the app, we need to make sure that your phone is on the same network as the laptop. So in other words, if your laptop has a certain Wi-Fi that you're connected to, then your phone also needs to be connected to the same Wi-Fi. If they are not connected, then it cannot share on the same network. So we're sharing on the local network as well. So what this means with the local network is that even if we are not using internet, this will actually work. Okay, so the apps then will need to still connect. So how do you connect without the internet? Well, you can create a hotspot on your phone to your laptop, and that is also a connection. Or in fact, your laptop can also hotspot to the phone both ways. So we need to download from the App Store AirDroid if you're using an Android. So we're using AirDroid. So if we can just zoom into that a little bit more, once we actually run the AirDroid and we are connected with a Wi-Fi network, then on the AirDroid, there is actually tabs. It doesn't show it here, but there is actually a tab which says AirDroid Web. So you see at the top it says AirDroid Web. So you go to the AirDroid Web section, and this will actually give you an address. This is the IP address. Okay, this is the IP address. This IP address then we will insert into the Runlink so that it will connect the Runlink page to the camera. Okay, on the local network, as it says. All right, so that is how we get the IP address and we set up the Android phone. It's actually quite straightforward. If we go to the iPhone, then Okay, so we just go down to the iPhone. I'll go through that in a minute because it's actually the same. Okay, so all right, we need to prepare the iPhone. So the app that you need to download in this case for the iPhone is the app called IP Webcam Home Security Camera. Okay, this is also an IP webcam, and that's free from the App Store, and also the Android is also free. This is the one that we tested, so this is the one that we recommend. So once downloaded, the application can also access your phone. So we go down, and when we activate it, then we go to the IP webcam, and then we press the button camera. Okay, and when we press camera, now remember that your phone and your laptop are connected. So go down further. We make sure, okay, that they are connected. Once we press camera, then you can see that there's an IP address in the bottom left-hand corner. You see that there is an IP address, so you can also copy that IP address to the Runlink. So in both cases, we need to have the IP address to access. Okay, so all right. So let's go back to the program. Okay, so we have the text-aligned camera view. Again, in this case, it says robot camera view. I think I had some different text. And then we have some text, which is an iframe. Okay, what the iframe does is it takes the IP, it puts it into a box, which actually has a width and a height, and it says border none, but you can actually add a border, and it has a source as to where the camera view actually comes from as well. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen to show you how that actually works as well. Okay, so I will. So what we need to do is either type or you can actually just copy that in. So let me just share my screen again. So the Chrome tab worked quite well. I'll do that. So here we have the Chrome tab again. So you can actually leave a space, and if it's easier to read, you can leave a space. That won't affect your code. If we then have that code which is in the HTML, okay, so the iframe, etc., this part here is what we need to change, this part here of the IP address. Okay, so what I will do is I will actually also connect my AirDroid. I have an Android phone, so I'm going to select and find that IP address. So my IP address does end with .888, so I only need to change this. There is 4 stars here because there is 4 numbers on the IP address. Be very careful that you do not disturb the other parts of the code. We need the HTTP, okay, and we need the :888/ etc. So just where the stars are, we can type in the numbers. In this case, my AirDroid says that it's 192.168.43.241. Okay, and then to include that code, I actually need to stop code and I need to run code. And if you could hear that noise, there was actually a noise on my phone which asked for permission. Okay, so the Runlink then running this page asks for permission to the phone to be able to open this camera view, and I need to press accept. And when I press accept, then down here the AirDroid actually shows the phone. It actually not only does the camera, it can also do the phone. But in this case, I want to access the camera part, so I'll press the camera. Okay, it says that while you're using it, you can't use your phone camera because it's streaming here. And you can see that my camera on my phone, I can move it around actually quite well. And in fact, if I go down, I can also turn it around. So if I turn my phone this way, it becomes bigger. And in fact, if I press this button here, it can expand across so that then it fills the page better. So I have the camera streaming view, and we also have buttons. So with the AirDroid, I can turn around my camera. So now I have that. You can see the camera view from my phone. So my phone is over here. You can probably see my phone on the Zoom that we're using. But on the phone, also we're getting access to the camera directly. Okay, and it's inserted in the page onto this frame. Okay, the frame actually is camera streaming view, and if I turn it around like this, it depends on the aspect of the camera that you have. So in this case, it will be that way. So the camera then is working. It's working from my phone directly to the Runlink. Okay. What is the quality of the video? The quality actually depends on your connection. Okay, so let me just explain that a little bit. I'll stop the share. Okay, so what do I mean by the quality of the connection? Well, if you have your IP camera, say near your door, and you have your laptop maybe at the back of the house, you might find that the quality of your video is actually quite slow. That is because it depends on how good your Wi-Fi connection is between the two devices. Whereas if you're much closer, then it will be much smoother and possibly even a better picture on there as well. So the distance actually makes a difference on your Wi-Fi, and you might be surprised how much the distance actually makes a difference as well to your Wi-Fi. This is actually a good way to check whether you have a good Wi-Fi connection or where there's good locations actually for your Wi-Fi as well. So this is our one line of code to actually create the camera view. And what I would suggest is that you actually try it yourself, that you share it with your students. It only takes that one line of code to actually create the iframe. What is the difference between the internet? Well, instead of the numbers that we had, and the numbers are direct IP address across your network, we would actually then share an actual web page across the internet if that web page also had a camera connected to it. Where can you get such cameras? Well, you can actually buy IP cameras that work across the internet, and the manufacturers will give you instructions on how you can find the web page once you put it on the internet that you can share, and then you can put that also onto your device. What's the advantage of that? Well, then, of course, you can be shopping and you can have such an IP camera then in your house, and you can then open it on your device and you can see it for security, or see it for your children, or for other things like that as well. So, all right. So we have there a demonstration. So who's sharing their screen at the moment there? Who have we got? That's very good. Okay. Is that Dr. Suhaili or Sangeetha who was trying that?
Sorry, Myro, I can't do that. I have
Okay,
trouble
I'll
with
just,
my line.
that's
But I
okay.
am following. But it's so miracle, Myro, so miracle. You can
Okay,
Can
see
I
so
share my
the
screen?
screen. Okay. Sanjita, please.
Yeah, can I just share my screen? I
yeah,
do
share
not
your
know.
screen. Sanjita, I think,
Yeah.
just did it.
Yeah.
So I think she can
Wow.
share the screen on what she just did.
Check it out. Right. I'm not sure whether this is working, but
Wow.
Okay, so if you go down and then you can
alright.
press the camera in the bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, this one. All right.
Yes, that one.
Oh,
Okay, and then so
do I have to have my reconnect? All right.
okay, so it's connecting to your device.
Okay.
It says failed to connect. Are you connected to the local network?
Yeah.
Okay.
Enable camera permission. Okay.
Right.
I'm doing it right now.
This is actually a good point, because you might need to actually enable permissions for your app. So if you have AirDroid and you have that, you may need to enable the permissions. Okay,
I
if
did it.
you turn your phone to the side, you can see a bigger view. And then also if you click the little box which is on the bottom right hand corner, it will expand it right across your screen. So on the other side, right on the other side, that one, then you can expand it. And if you turn your phone so that it's like this instead of up, then it will also be bigger as well. Okay, it's not
Okay.
working on yours.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think I had
depends on your.
disabled. It's not.
Oh, you have that disabled. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
If you have it
Yeah.
enabled, then okay,
Yeah.
there you are. And you can even turn the view around so we can see you. So there's actually a little click box there as well, which is not that one, not the next one, just the next one there. Yes, if you turn that around, you can actually see the
Look
other.
at myself. Oh,
You can
the camera
use the
on
other
me.
camera as well. So you can actually
Wow.
stream the camera. There's
Okay.
2 cameras that you can stream.
Mhm.
Okay. So we have had students use this for STEM. So for example, I had some students who put together Internet of Things view for a swimming pool. Okay, and they said, okay, what we want to do is we want to put in camera view so that we can see the children when they're actually outside to make sure that they're safe. So they created a little project and created a little model, and then they actually showed that part of that swimming pool safety model was actually putting in a camera, and they had a working camera on there as well. I think they also had some sensors on the gate there as well, so that they could also come up as well, and some other things too. But the camera was certainly part of that project. Okay, so quite quick. Okay, I took a long time to explain everything, but it shouldn't take you very long, and then the students can do it quickly, and then they become also very interested then to maybe to use this and to go on to the next step as well. Okay, very good. Also, just to explain, since we have a few minutes left, I'll just share my screen again. Just want to explain a little bit more about the Runlink page which we are using. Okay, I still have my camera on. Let me just turn that off as well. Okay, quite easy, just a stop code. Okay, so you might be wondering, for example, how would you, for example, change this so that either it's a different size or a different color. So obviously we can change it to H1, and then it will be larger. Okay, so we actually have a larger camera streaming view here. Okay, or if we have different colors, or we want to do some other things, how would we find out about this? Because on the Runlink, on this one, we don't actually have a help button or anything like that. Well, what we can do is we can actually type in HTML colors, and it will come up in W3 Schools. W3 Schools is an excellent resource so that you can see. So let me just type that in so I can share with you this resource. I just simply type into the browser HTML colors, and it comes up with a tab which basically says HTML colors -W3 Schools. And let me then share that tab. I'll just stop sharing that one, and I'll just share my other tab here. HTML colors, here we are. Okay, so this is W3 Schools, and it comes up with HTML colors. So we see that there are color names, and we can simply put in the color, and we can put in the color in the background, or we can put in the text color. And W3 Schools is very good because it also has examples here as well. So the color tomato is a reddish color, and if we want to include that as well, then we can also copy that. We already have a style, so what we can do is we can actually include this part, which is the color, and what I will do is I will paste it into my Runlink. So then I will share what I will do that on the Runlink. Okay, and there are many other features as well that you can try. Also in the HTML, if you want to do some other things. W3 Schools is an excellent resource for learning how to do different things with your code. Okay, so over here, I already have the style text align center. Okay, what I can do is I can add this before the text align, press color like this, and we can also have a space like that. So in that we have style color tomato colon, and then we have text align colon center, and then if I press run code, then we can go down and you can see that then the heading becomes a different color. We can also do fonts, and we can do many other things, and that means that you can become very creative on what you can do also with the Runlink. And students love to be creative as well. Their creativity is much better than ours, isn't it? So it also means that, sometimes when you have hands-on, some students are very fast, twice as quick as others. So those fast students, you can then direct them and you can get them to be creative to add other things on. In the meantime, your slower students can catch up. And so everybody is busy and then everybody is happy. Your slower students still got their camera working, and those fast students have actually added their own things and are very proud of that and will be showing other students as well for this STEM exercise. Okay, so this is actually quite a short project, and you might want to do it over maybe even just one class, okay, because it doesn't take too long. All right. Thank you very much. So we probably have a few minutes then for any questions as well. I hope that people tried it. If there's any questions, please let me know. Any questions
Yes,
come
bro.
up?
Yes, bro. Getting some questions here. Okay, the first question saying that can Runlink actually stream one handphone to one laptop at the same time, or can it be more than one devices?
If you want to stream 2 devices to your one page, then you would have 2 lines of code. You would have one iframe for one device, and you would have the second iframe for the second device.
So what is the maximum number of devices that can be connected at any one time? Unlimited, I guess.
There's not a limit, but there's a limit to your bandwidth, because obviously then all of those devices are trying to go as well, and so it'll slow down. It's a little bit also like the same as when you have more frames on your Zoom across the net as well. It slows things down. So you can have different cameras in different parts of the house, outside, etc., and you could have one view together. Definitely. Yes, you can do that. And you can arrange your page as well. So the iframe can be actually side by side, or it can be on the top, and you can arrange where it is as well. And in the HTML W3 schools, you can show you how to align them as well.
All right. So the second question here says that, right, as you said earlier, the laptop and the handphone or the handset is already connected to the same Wi-Fi. So can this be done without the installing the app, AirDroid?
You need the app to access your camera and then to put it onto the network, okay? Because otherwise there is no way for the network to access your camera. So the app is there to turn your camera into an IP camera. Otherwise it is not an IP camera. You need to make it use an IP camera of some type.
All right. Okay, the next question sounds like this. Like, for example, like I myself, I'm teaching a lower primary, and when I tend to introduce coding as a new subject to these kids, so I would like to find out, because they can't be understanding and writing these codes or these HTML codes. So is there any way that we can just get them to copy and paste it? Just like
Yes,
what you did in your...
In fact, I just copied and pasted the code. I don't know if you saw me doing that, but I actually just opened the PDF and actually just took my mouse and copied and pasted most of that. The first part I typed in on the top, but then I copied and pasted the other things. So they can do that carefully as well. And obviously depends on the level of the students that you are teaching as to whether you want them and how much you want them to copy and paste. But in this case, because there's only a little bit of code, at least they have some chance of understanding the code as well. So when it's only one line of code, then it's easy to step through that one line. Obviously, the Runlink only needs a few lines of code. So only one line of code or 2 lines of code buttons or 3 lines of code voice means that we can get some understanding, okay, of that code. Other technologies that use hundreds of lines of code, they can copy and paste, but neither the teacher nor they really can have any time to understand what is happening.
But at this point, any database of those HTML ready codes available?
Yes, on W3 schools, there are samples, and on the W3 schools, you can also, like even the color, I went to W3 schools and I can just copy the color and use that little part too. But they also have a few example pages there too. W3 schools is excellent because they also just with a few lines actually point out the sections as well, and so you can just try a few things too. And also they have a very good description. So this is a good section for tutorial, for the HTML, the CSS, and also they have JavaScript too. So I'll be pointing out for that. It's a very good resource for using Runlink.
All right. The next question here says that can we use Runlink as our CCTV in our homes that we have right now?
Yes, you can use it right now. Yeah, you could put your camera where you want to, and you can have your laptop or other device. The Runlink, remember, is a web page, so you can open it on your tablet as well, and you could have the video on your tablet, or you could have streaming from one phone to the other, because you can open the Runlink web page on your phone as well.
Right.
So
right. And
yeah.
There's another question says that other than doing a streaming, the camera streaming from the handphone, that means from your mobile set, can we get it to stream from any other devices other than handphones and smartphones and tablets?
Yes, you can buy just IP cameras which already come with the manufacturer's IP address, and some of them are small or the larger ones, and you can use they're custom-made IP cameras. If there are other devices, I'm not sure which ones you might be referring to, but there might be some apps to use the cameras to make them IP cameras. So.
Okay. So as of now, I think that much of questions. Let me check whether we have any more questions. Right, I think that's it as of now. I'm sure these teachers, our viewers, are having fun with the. I myself am so excited. So I just, I think everybody is equally excited to have done something very interesting. Right. I do not have any other questions left in.
So this is why the Runlink actually then encourages both the teacher and the students to then be able to do more with STEM, because it's not too hard and you get a good result, quickly, and you can see the things. Right. And it's not too hard. Even that one line of code is not very hard to understand. Mm-hmm. Where it says height and width, 100%, you can change that. You can make it 80%, make it smaller, and you can try that as well. Make the view smaller, etc. It's very, very easy to understand the code. Yeah.
Right. And one more question. What is the estimated cost for tonight's camera streaming?
Sorry, the estimated
cost.
It's free. You're using free apps. You're using our free online version, of Runlink, and you already have a phone and a laptop, so it doesn't cost you anything else. Yeah, I think that's it. In fact, it doesn't even cost you any data or any bandwidth, because you're using a local connection. It doesn't even cost you doesn't use up any of your data. Yeah, actually. Okay, so I guess that's from the session. Okay. Right, so I think that's about it for tonight. Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Miro. I hope all of you have enjoyed this amazing presentation as much as I did. Okay. Now, I hope this question and answer session has also given pretty much a clear picture on our topic today. Okay, to Prof. Miro, we can't thank you enough for your precious time spent with us with a great presentation. It was indeed a pleasure having you with us today. Thank you so much. That's okay. If I can just point out also for next week, so we're looking forward to next week, I'll be doing 2 lines of code in the HTML, and then we will have buttons, but we have 2 sections, okay? The first section, because we're not turning on and off actual lamps or dials, we will be actually changing pictures on your web page. So you'll learn how to put a picture on your web page, how to change the picture with the buttons. And the second one is we're going to actually draw some shapes on the web page. So we're going to draw some circles and change the colors as well on the web page as well. So that's what we're looking forward to next week.
I'm really looking forward because the first session has actually amazed us a lot. So I'm just, I can't wait for the second to happen. And I just hope I can just go through all the series just like all other teachers today. Right. Okay. So I hope those audiences or viewers, please be also informed that we will have our third episode of our series on next Friday, the same time. Okay?
Thank you, Myro. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So we end the session today. Thank you everyone for watching.
If there's any more questions, you can post it also on the social media. I'm happy to answer some of those.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Miro.
Okay,
Thank you, Cikgu
thank you.
Sohaili.
Thank you, Sanjikita.